So, are you making a documentary?
News purposes.
Nice.
So, what do you have at this booth?
I beg your pardon?
What do you have at this booth?
Oh, actually I'm a hobbyist, and I'm selling sharpening stones primarily.
And can you tell us about the sharpening stones that you have on display?
These are all naturally mined from Kyoto. There's a small area just to the northwest of Kyoto. It's called Yamashiro area, and that's where all the traditional stones were mined. Consequently, all the mines have been closed since the 1920s, so I go to Japan and buy these. It's old stock, leftover stock from the 20s and 30s. And most carpenters don't use these quality stones anymore. They're mostly the synthetic stones. So I found a ready market in the United States for guys who are using old-fashioned Japanese tools to sharpen their tools with the natural stones, which is a good combination.
So what's the difference between synthetic and traditional, like these?
Yeah, well, one of the main differences is synthetic stones are formulated. The grit quality is very regular. They have, like, let's say 1,000 grit stone. About 90% of the grit in the stone is about 1,000 K size. These Japanese stones, the grit content is all mixed up for different sizes. So you end up with a more varied type of sharpening quality, and it creates a little bit longer lasting edge on your blade too. So knife users, all-in knife users and tool users, and plus sword polishers use these natural stones because it leaves a softer looking finish on the blade, and a lot of people think a longer lasting edge.
So would you highly recommend these stones for sword sharpeners?
Well, I'm pretty cautious about that because I'm not really a sword polisher myself. So I really sell most of them as sharpening stones rather than polishing stones. These are really for tools and knives.
So they're excellent for swords, correct?
I beg your pardon?
Excellent for swords in sharpening.
Yeah, sword sharpeners, the way that they buy their polishing stones, they're a lot more cautious, because the blades they're polishing, well, they're more valuable, and they're being polished for the look rather than the sharpness.
Yeah, so practically most of the people who buy these stones are practically knife sharpeners?
Yeah. And I even sell some stones to barbers for sharpening their straight razors.
You mean barbers still do some of those shaving jobs?
Yeah, there's, what I found is because of the sanitary laws in the United States, most barbers favor disposable blades. But I sell quite a few blades in stones to European barbers, and they love to sharpen their own razors and maintain their own edges.
How many have you sold to Europe so far?
I'm sorry?
How many have you sold to Europe so far?
Probably about 40 to 50 stones.
40 to 50 stones?
Yeah. But my main business up it has really been for tool users. Guys who are using traditional Japanese tools. These stones have the ability to sharpen the bimetal blades, like kana blades, what's traditionally used for Japanese woodworking. It has a wrought iron body and a hard steel edge, and the removal of the soft wrought iron body is pretty tricky for synthetic stones because the iron particles get caught up in the pores of the stone, and it's called swarf, and the stone becomes glazed. With these natural stones, they release a certain amount of grit particles called a slurry, and it flushes away the swarf. So the end result and the process of sharpening is facilitated by the stones that releases slurry.
I see. So how much do you sell the stones?
They range from like $150 up to a few thousand. Depends on size, quality. It's the main thing.
Oh, I see. Thanks for your time.
Okay, you're welcome.